Hi everyone, in this slide we're going to be looking at a section through some mucoid tissue. As you can see at low magnification, there really isn't that much to look at. There's not much staining except for the epithelium around the outside, but the actual connective tissue itself has very little staining. That's because there's not really much there in terms of matrix material yet. It's a very immature tissue. We're very close to mesenchyme tissue. Okay, let's take a look at a closer image of this. Zoom in a little bit to see what we can see, and we can see that there's plenty of cells. There are some structures developing, so we have some blood vessels developing already, so they are visible. But beyond that, there's really not much more going on. The cells within the tissue itself that are outside the blood vessels, the cells are randomly distributed. There's really not much going on here, and there's not much staining within the matrix itself. Okay. Now, the mucoid tissue actually contains a lot of white blood cells within it. And so what we're going to be seeing here is a lot of eosinophils and a lot of plasma cells. Okay, so for example here, this is very likely to be an eosinophil at the pointer. This right here is definitely an eosinophil. We have a plasma cell right here. You can kind of make out a basophilic cytoplasm, eccentric nucleus, and a very obvious negative Golgi image. Now let's kind of scan around and take a look at some of these things at a high magnification. Okay, so let me just zoom in, go up to the oil lens, just a little bit of oil. And throw in the 100x objective, and here we are. Okay, so here we go. Here's a plasma cell, nice eccentric nucleus, and a basophilic cytoplasm. Again, this one's basophilic. Let me move over here for comparison. The cytoplasm here, and this cell is eosinophilic. This is an eosinophil. There's another one over here. It's also an eosinophil. So it's a bilobed nucleus and eosinophilic cytoplasm. Okay, another eosinophil over here. There's many more around. Here's a couple of plasma cells. Again, we're looking at a very basophilic cytoplasm in both cases and eccentric nucleus. Again, that cytoplasm is filled with rough ER, which is why those ribosomes in that rough ER are staining with a lot of hematoxylin. And that's why this cytoplasm looks very basophilic. Here is another example of another plasma cell. You can see a nice eccentric nucleus, and there's this very thin light staining region right next to the nucleus, between the nucleus and the cytoplasm. That is the negative Golgi image. Okay. Here's another example. Another plasma cell, an eosinophil right next to it with a bilobed nucleus. So here we go. Again, as I focus up and down, you kind of see a little bit more of the cytoplasm, a little bit of that negative Golgi image. Okay, so that's mucoid tissue.